Good day. Today, I'd like to end the class with preparing your journal article for submission. And it's not just a technical task, it is a rite of passage into the world of scholarship. The process demands far more than simply writing a compelling argument. It requires mastering publishing conventions, demonstrating ethical rigor, and showing respect for the journal's community by following its style and formatting rules precisely. As your document emphasizes, proper adherence to documentation styles, punctuation norms, and spelling conventions signals professionalism and increases the likelihood that editors will view your work as a good fit for their publication. In addition, inclusive and bias-free language is now a standard expectation and not just an optional consideration, because you never know who you are, who your reviewers may be, and scholarship must strive to avoid reinforcing harmful assertions. So this session, and it is your last, represents the culmination of weeks of intellectual labor, shaping data, arguments, and insights into a professional document ready for editorial scrutiny. It is here that your work leaves the private space of study and enters the vast network of academic discourse, where it may influence thought, invite critique, and contribute to the evolution of your field. This lecture is designed to walk you through the final steps that many researchers find the most daunting: preparing your manuscript according to rigorous journal standards, navigating submission platforms, and ensuring that your work earns the strongest first impression possible. These final touches are not clerical details. They are acts of professionalism that honor the journal's expectations and elevate the visibility of your scholarship. When you reach the point of submission, you are not merely uploading a document, you are stepping confidently into your identity as a scholar. Let's look at these sessions' mission. The primary mission of this session is simple yet essential: transform a well-written article into a publishable one, or maybe just one worthy for submission. Even excellent research can be overlooked if formatting appears careless or inconsistent. By studying submission guidelines and applying journal-specific style conventions with precision, you demonstrate that you understand how scholarship is shared professionally. These final adjustments signal to editors that your work is ready to enter their publication workflow without imposing unnecessary labor on their team. Your time investment at this stage varies by discipline. Humanities submissions may demand several hours of careful revision, while scientific manuscripts often progress more quickly due to standardized formats. But regardless of field, attention to detail is what ensures editors focus on the merit of your ideas rather than technical flaws. You are learning not only to write, but to publish, and that skill will support your career for decades. The importance of finishing. One of the most profound challenges in academic writing is knowing when to stop revising and start submitting. Scholars often delay, convinced that one more challenge will secure acceptance. Yet perfectionism becomes a mask for fear and self-doubt. The presentation reminds us that careers are stalled not by rejection, but by work that is never shared. Embracing completion means acknowledging that scholarship is always a work in progress, even after publication. Publication requires courage. The courage to let others analyze, challenge, or reinterpret your ideas. Yet, peer review is not an attack. It is an essential stage as it's an essential stage of growth as as scholars. By submitting, you demonstrate confidence in your contribution and allow it to evolve through dialogue and critique. The act of finishing is not a conclusion, but a decisive step towards future refinement and research. The secret of prolific publishing. An experienced researcher once revealed a deceptively simple strategy for productivity beyond the scope of this article. This phrase liberates writers from the impossible burden of knowing everything. Scholarship advances through focused contributions, not through encyclopedic completeness. Instead of stalling unanswered questions, acknowledge limits and keep moving forward. Productivity grows when boundaries are intentionally drawn. Adopting this mindset means letting go of the posture of mastery in favor of the pursuit of knowledge. The most celebrated scholars publish frequently not because they know more, but because they submit more. Your job is to clearly define what your article accomplishes and trust that future work, either yours or others, will address what lies outside its edges. Now let's look at your submission timeline. Technically, submitting a manuscript is a logistical process requiring foresight and organization. The steps include reviewing all guidelines, applying the journal style, resolving any remaining issues such as illustrations or permissions, and then formally submitting your article. Breaking the process into stages prevents last-minute crises and builds confidence as you check off each completed task. So let's look at understanding submission guidelines. Submission guidelines are the journal's roadmap for how your articles should look and function within their publication system. They may indicate and dictate formatting, organization, citation, style, word count, image submission rules, and even preferred file formats. Careful Carefully studying these instructions ensures editors focus on your argument, not on your errors. When journal-specific rules override general style guidance, it is always the journal that takes precedence. Editors rely on these standards to streamline peer review and maintain a consistent reading experience across the journal. When authors disregard guidelines, it signals inexperience and creates unnecessary work. It's a strike against you before the content is even evaluated. Attention to detail here is often interpreted as a sign of academic maturity and respect for for the publishing process. Now, of course, there are many academic styles and guidelines, and that there's no one or singular academic style or guideline. Style manuals exist to unify scholars who write from diverse backgrounds, ensuring consistency in citations, headings, punctuations, and overall presentation. Instead of arbitrary rules, these manuals reflect decades of editorial practice aimed at clarity and professionalism. They train authors to communicate research in a manner instantly recognizable to the field. The manual your journal uses becomes your authoritative reference. Rather than guessing or mixing conventions, consulting the correct manual prevents errors and keeps your article aligned with disciplinary expectations. Style proficiency is a foundational professional skill, a mark of someone ready to engage fully in scholarly publishing. Let's look at some of these manuals, beginning specifically with the Chicago Manual of Style. The Chicago Manual of Style is the most detailed and widely used style book, particularly and most especially in the humanities. It provides two documentation systems, author date, and notes bibliography, allowing flexibility based on disciplinary norms. Chicago's robust grammar and technical guidance make it valuable beyond citation alone. It includes conventions such as listing authors, full names, and including publication places for books. CMOs, or the Chicago Manual of Styles, prioritizes consistency and thoroughness, which assures editors that the author has prepared work suited for professional publication. Mastery of the Chicago style enhances the article's credibility in fields where depth of content is actually prized. The second one is the APA. The APA style dominates the social sciences and is tailored specifically to journal publication standards. Beyond formatting, it addresses writing ethics, clear communication, abstract design, and organization of scientific findings, making it a holistic style for research reporting. Its citation rules, including initials for given names and structured reference lists, reinforce clarity and concise attribution. APA's emphasis on avoiding bias ensures language supports ethical research integrity. For psychology, sociology, and related fields, APA is integral to scholarly legitimacy. Next is the MLA style. MLA style prioritizes clarity in the study of language, literature, and cultural texts. It fully spells out authors' names in the works cited list and positions publications year at the end of the entry, reflecting a disciplinary focus on text and interpretation over chronology. MLA also addresses how to communicate to specific audiences and navigate copyright when quoting creative works, essential considerations in literary scholarship. Its guidance supports nuanced writing, where textual evidence is central to the argument. The next is the AMA, Manual of Style. AMA is for medicine and biomedical sciences. AMA offers a citation system based on numbered references rather than author year formats. This allows for dense scientific communication without cluttering the narrative with citation details. Its strict ordering system references appear in citation order, not alphabetically, reflects the methodological rigor required in clinical research. Using AMA correctly demonstrates alignment with scientific communication standards upheld by major medical journals. From here, we look at some strategic approaches to journal styles. Editors instantly notice when a submission does not resemble their published articles. This visual mismatch can suggest a rejected manuscript from another journal, lowering confidence before any peer review begins. Therefore, conforming to journal style at first submission is not optional but strategic. The key question becomes not how do I adapt every rule, but what is the minimum required for my article to appear native to this journal? A focused approach saves time while ensuring professional alignment. There are technically three essential style elements that you have to pay attention to. Of all the style requirements, three are essential: documentation, punctuation, and spelling. These elements shape readability and help editors quickly determine your familiarity with their expectations. By perfecting these components, authors eliminate common red flags and secure a better first impression. Even without adapting every niche layout rule, proper control of these three aspects makes the manuscript feel fully integrated into the journal style. Let's look at documentation styles examples. And this time, let's look at books. Different styles manual format book citation distinctly, using varied punctuation, ordering, and abbreviations. Learning these variations demonstrates discipline-specific fluency. An article using the wrong citation convention risks appearing immediately misaligned. Accurate citations also uphold academic integrity, ensuring traceability of ideas. A citation error can appear careless, but a pattern of error suggests a lack of scholarly rigor. Precision reinforces authority. Another type of documentation is one pertaining to journal articles. Journal articles require even more attention to detail, such as volume and issue numbers, page ranges, and digital identifiers. Scientific and humanities journals vary widely in how much detail they expect in citations. Understanding these expectations prevents avoidable revision requests and supports the indexing of your article once published. Proper attribution is also a professional courtesy to scholars whose work builds the foundation of your own. Let's look at certain punctuation style guidelines. Punctuation communicates clarity, professionalism, and tone. The serial comma, for example, is not merely stylistic preference because most academic journals expect it, and omitting it can constantly signal novice status to editors. Proper quotation marks is another key expectation. US journals place punctuations inside quotes, while British journals place it outside. Understanding and applying these conventions demonstrates fluency in the scholarly language of your field. Black quotations must also be formatted with precision. Any quoted material longer than 4 or 5 lines should be separated as a block, and quotation marks should appear only if present in the source. Excessive exclamation marks or scared quotes weaken academic quotes and may suggest emotional bias rather than analytical focus. Editors expect authors to communicate emphasis using structure and argument and not dramatic punctuation. Let's look at mastering hyphens and dashes. Professional writing differentiates between hyphens, N dashes, and M dashes, each with a specific grammatical function. Hyphens join compound words. N dashes mark number ranges, and M dashes create emphases or signal breaks in thought. Mistaking these marks may seem minor, but such details contribute to editors' overall perception of your competence and attention to accuracy. While some journals might not require perfect application at first submission, using the correct dash types involves readability and reinforces your mastery of scholarly conventions. Small technical refinements like these elevate your manuscript, make it appear more polished and closer to a published ready artifact, which is exactly what editors want to see at a certain point. Now let's look at some spelling style conventions. Even spelling, something we take for granted, varies significantly depending on a journal's nationality. US publications prefer color and analyze, while UK journals expect color with a U and analyze with an S instead of a Z. Switching between conventions is easy using your word processor's built-in tools, but forgetting to do so may result in major inconsistencies that reviewers will notice immediately. Authors should set their proofreading language before final checks so every flag term can be reviewed efficiently. Journals interpret spelling accuracy as a sign of discipline alignment, and if you are British, uses British spelling in a US journal and vice versa. It sadly communicates lack of familiarity with that journal's academic community. Now let's look at some additional style considerations. Academic style favors down style capitalization. Only proper nouns and essential names are capitalized. Overuse of capitals appears amateurish and disrupts reading flow. Similarly, italics should be reserved for clearly defined purposes such as foreign words or titles. Using them for emphasis can feel like shouting in academic writing. Acronyms must be introduced properly. Write out the full proper term, followed by the abbreviation in parentheses, then use only the acronym afterwards. This is proper nouns, such as scholars' names, should be introduced with full identification before relying on last names alone. These conventions help readers follow your argument smoothly and demonstrate scholarly respect for sources and audiences. Now, done with the punctuations, let's look at the use of inclusive language. Inclusive language is not only ethically important, it is strategic. Because reviewers come from diverse backgrounds, biased or outdated terminology can alienate or harm potential evaluators. For example, wheelchair users is preferable to wheelchair bound, and older adults is better than the elderly. Removing the before identity groups avoids categorical labeling that reduces people to conditions. Journals, whether you like it or not, expect authors to reflect contemporary standards of respect and sensitivity. An inclusive language can trigger negative reviewer reactions even when the researcher itself is strong. Using updated, thoughtful wording signals that your scholarship is aware of and responsive to social responsibility in research. Here we see gender neutral strategies. To avoid awkward constructions like he or she or the singular they, um, especially when referring to people whose gender identity is unknown, we need to pay attention at the use of they. This shift reflects modern linguistic practice and supports more inclusive representation. Consistency also matters in how people are referenced. Using a last name for men but also first name for women reinforces harmful academic biases. Every subject should be named with equal formality and respect. These conventions protect authors from unintentionally insulting reviewers or readers, a critical concern when anonymity shields reviewers' identities. Now, once you already paid attention here, we need now to collect submission information. Many manuscripts are rejected before review because authors neglect submission instructions such as incorrect fonts or missing words. These preventable issues make extra work for editors and erode confidence in an author's professionalism. The key is to thoroughly review every requirement and ensure your submission package follows the journal's exact expectations. While web-based portals automate many tasks, not all journals use them, particularly in the humanities. When submitting by email or post, a strong cover letter is essential to introduce your work and demonstrate its relevance to the journal's audience. Even in online forms, a concise, persuasive comment can help frame your article positively. But there are more, no? There are more that we should pay attention to. Abstracts, keywords, and word count requirements. The abstract is often the first piece of writing a reviewer sees, and sometimes the only part an editor basically read before deciding whether to send the article out for review. It must reflect the journal's required structure, stay within word limits, and include strategic keywords that help others discover your work once published. Word count rules are equally important. While a slight overrange of 100 to 200 words may be acceptable, we still need to be very careful. Exceeding limits by pages risks automatic rejection. Clarify whether word count includes references or tables, because your article must fit the journal's publication space and readers' expectations. Article types and reviewer suggestions. The abs So journals frequently publish multiple article types such as research articles, review essays, or short research notes, each with different requirements. Submitting under the correct category ensures your article is evaluated by the right standards and reviewer expertise. Some journals request reviewer suggestions, only propose experts who are not close collaborators or members of your institutions. Research shows that suggested reviewers may be more favorable, but only recommend them if asked, as offering unsolicited names may appear to be presumptuous. Now, just a word about deprecating reviewers. Asking that specific individuals not review your work must be handled with caution. Editors accept such requests only under strict justification, such as direct competitive conflict or fundamental methodological opposition. Anything else may arouse suspicion. Attempts to manipulate reviewer selection, such as sending pre-reads to potential reviewers, are well known to editors and can backfire. The safest path is to trust the journal's expertise while protecting legitimate scholarly or ethical interests whenever necessary. Here we understand why it's important to anonymize your manuscripts. Anonymous peer review protects early career scholars and authors from lesser known institutions by ensuring that the evaluation focuses solely on the quality of your work. Anonymization requires more than removing your name from this title page. You must eliminate any detail that could reveal authorship, including acknowledgments, reference to your institutions, and mentions of advisors and funders. Authors often overlook invisible identifiers such as embedded metadata in Word files or PDFs. Failing to remove document properties can compromise anonymity instantly. Complete anonymization allows your scholarship to stand independently, free from unconscious reviewer bias, whether positive or negative. Now, complete anonymization checklist. Self-citations pose a unique challenge. You may need to temporarily remove them from the reference list. Instead, replace authorship with author to avoid signaling your identity. Similarly, acknowledgments and departmental affiliations must be entirely removed until the article is accepted. Additionally, removing running headers that contain your name and scrub metadata indicating who last edited the file. These small, easily forgotten traces can break anonymity and compromise the integrity of the review process. Following this checklist protects fairness and preserves reviewer neutrality. How about managing illustrations? If your work contains tables, photographs, maps, or figures, journals often impose such strict submission rules. Separate files, specific file types, caption formats, and documented placement instructions such as Table 1 about here. Compliance prevents delays during production and review. Another common mistake is including illustrations without referencing them in the text. Every visual element must serve a purpose and be integrated into your argument. Clear captions and citations ensure accessibility and even scholarly accountability. Now, get permissions starting early. Anything not created by you, including maps, artistic photographs, may require written permission from copyright owners. This process can take weeks or months, far longer than many authors expect, especially when right holders are organizations or estates. Although most journals don't require permission during initial submission, securing them early prevents publication delays after acceptance. Proactive attention to permission safeguards your timeline and demonstrates professional responsibility toward intellectual property. Here we see why it's important to have a documentation software. Using reference management tools like Zotero, EndNote, Mendeley can reduce citation formatting from hours to minutes. These programs instantly convert citation formats to match specific journals, minimizing human error and freeing time for refining content rather than formatting. Without such software, preparing documentation becomes a labor-intensive process requiring manual verification of every detail. And that's difficult. That's time-consuming. The investment in a citation journal, management tool, or management technology pays off repeatedly throughout your writing career, improving accuracy and even the efficiency. Footnotes, endnotes, and file format. Many journals prefer endnotes over footnotes for the first submission to simplify layout during review. Converting footnotes to endnotes aligns your article with standard digital review practices, particularly in the humanities. Journals may require separate uploads for title pages, figures, and supplemental data, and preparing files in advance avoid submission stress. Inaccurate file organization can interrupt submission portals or trigger technical rejections. Setbacks easily avoided with forethought. Author information. An ORCID ensures your scholarly identity is uniquely recognized across all publications and platforms. Many journals now require this identifier to track author contributions and strengthen attribution. Ensure co-author names are spelled and styled exactly as each researcher prefers. Some journals also require contribution statements documenting who did what, which increases transparency and ethical accountability in collaboration work. Geolocation information. Articles involving geographic settings may require precise location data in decimal degrees, not vague descriptions of traditional lat or long labels. Providing coordinates improves searchability and contextual clarity for readers. Even if a journal doesn't require this information, including it demonstrates scientific rigor. Tools like Google Maps make obtaining coordinates simple, allowing authors to support spatial accuracy without difficulty. Essential submission warrants. Submission requires authors to declare ethical compliance, including authorship ownership, copyright status, and confirmation that the article is not under review elsewhere. Journals treat simultaneous submissions as serious misconduct. These warranties reassures editors that the manuscript enters the publication cycle with integrity, confirming originality and ethical handling of human subjects where applicable, protects both authors and journal from reputational or even legal harm. If your article never appeared in print or online, state simply that it has not yet been published before. Conference presentations do not count as prior publications unless full text was posted online. When small portions overlap with previously published work, transparency matters. Acknowledge prior appearance and explain its limited scope, preserving academic honesty. Translating work from another language also requires clear disclosure. Trust is foundational in the publishing ecosystem. Research ethics warrants. Ethical compliance is a core expectation in academic publishing, especially for studies involving human participants. Journals may require IRB approval statements, disclosure of content, or documentation verifying that research followed institutional and international guidelines. Including these assurances within the manuscript, regardless of whether explicitly required, demonstrates proactive ethical responsibility. Conflict of interest conflict of interest disclosure is equally important. Authors must state whether any financial or personal interest could influence the research, even if none exists. Journals expect a formal declaration confirming ethical transparency. Honesty in reporting protects the credibility of both the article and the wider scholarly community. Plagiarism warrant and academic integrity. Plagiarism is one of the most damaging violations in academia. Every idea, sentence, or data set drawn from another source must be properly cited. Improper paraphrasing, changing only a few words, is still considered plagiarism. Authors are encouraged to oversight rather than risk undercitation. Self-plagiarism also matters. Reusing previously published material without acknowledgement violates ethical norms and may breach copyright. Protecting your career means ensuring originality and documenting influence clearly. Ethical publishing is not just expected, it's actually mandatory. Now, let's talk about writing an effective submission cover letter. A cover letter is your chance to advocate for your article. When email or postal submission is required, the letter introduces your work concisely and positions it within the journal's interests and readership. A polished cover letter signals professionalism before the editor reads a single sentence of your article. Use that brief space to communicate the article's contribution, mention any relevant interaction with editors, and demonstrate familiarity with recent journal content. This demonstrates that your submission is thoughtfully targeted, not indiscriminately circulated. Now, let's look at cover letter formatting. Use official email or university letterhead addressing the editor by name. This avoids appearing generic and establishes a direct professional connection. Introduce yourself by stating your research specialization and explain how your article aligns with the journal's goals or area of focus. Include the article title early, providing clarity and context. This efficient opening helps editors quickly recognize the work in their submission queue, reinforcing your organizational skills and respect for their time. Now, let's look at the content of the cover letter. If your submission was encouraged, such as through a positive response to a query, reference that interaction and express gratitude. Evidence of your article's recognition, such as awards or positive receptions at conferences, can strengthen the editor's interest. Explain why your work belongs specifically in this journal, perhaps because it extends conversations previously published there. This demonstrates awareness of the journal's scholarly culture and shows that your work will resonate with its readership. Now, let's look at some of the final elements. Include ethical warrants such as sole authorship, copyright ownership, and assurance that the article is not under review elsewhere. Also mention length, permissions, and funding sources as needed. This gives editors confidence that the manuscript meets core submission requirements. Keep the cover letter concise, ideally one page or even half a page. A well structured, error free letter reinforces professionalism. Editors read many submissions, and brevity shows respect for their time while maintaining strength in their communication. Now, let's look at sample submissions of cover letters. This sample letter models clarity and confidence without exaggeration. It demonstrates a strong alignment between the author's research interests and the journal's mission. By summarizing the article concisely and referencing relevant scholarship in the journal, the author frames the work as a valuable contribution. Although brief, the example includes all essential information: article word count, originality, submission status, and permissions. It represents a tone of respectful assertiveness, the ideal professional voice when approaching editors. So what do you do after submission? Submitting the article is not the end of the process. It is the beginning of editorial review and scholarly dialogue. Authors should record the submission date and maintain a backup copy identical to what was sent. Patience is essential during this waiting period as review timelines vary. Continue developing other projects while awaiting the editor's response. This proactive mindset ensures sustained productivity and reduces stress associated with waiting. Every communication with the editor should be saved as part of your professional tracking system. Now, there are three article strategy. To maintain momentum and avoid publication gaps, scholars are encouraged to sustain three articles in rotation. One, what are these three articles? One under development, one under submission, and one under revision. This cycle creates steady output and prevents career stagnation. Writing and publishing are very long processes. Any single article can stall due to review delays or revisions. A pipeline approach protects your overall productivity and also ensure continuous presence in scholarly discourse. Now, putting your article in journal style. If you use citation softwares, transitioning documentation to the journal-specific style can take only minutes. These tools automatically apply style rules, minimizing the chance of formatting errors in the reference list and in the in-text citations. Without such tools, correcting citations require time-consuming manual work, searching every detail and matching punctuation, author names, and publication years exactly. Regardless of method and accuracy in documentation, demonstrates scholarly respect and editorial readiness. Now, let's look at standardizing punctuation with technology. Instead of manual hunting for punctuation errors, authors should use their word processor's grammar checker to align their article with the journal's punctuation conventions. This includes reinforcing the serial comma, adjusting quotation mark placement, and ensuring proper use of M dashes and N dashes. Technology reduces human oversight and speeds up this critical stage of revision. Many journals follow either US or British punctuation standards, and reviewing these settings helps ensure automatic correction. Using find and replace tools can globally fix number ranges and other common issues, and this approach results in a polished manuscript that reflects advanced editorial awareness. Now, the same is true for standardizing spelling and grammar check. Spelling varies by region, so set the spelling check language to either English United States or English United Kingdom, depending on the journal. This will highlight inconsistencies such as center and centra, organization and organization, protecting your work from subtle editorial criticism. Running a thorough grammar check can also reveal misused words, passive construction, subject verb disagreement, and punctuation errors that may distract reviewers from your ideas. You rather than the software must make the final decisions. But the tool identifies where refinement is needed to avoid unprofessional mistakes. Now, finalizing your submission package. The final days before submission should involve creating a checklist and reviewing every requirement closely. This includes confirming document format, abstract structures, permissions, citations, and the presence of all required metadata. Completing this stage builds confidence that your article is fully aligned with journal expectations. Saving multiple backups in different locations, such as cloud storage and local drives, protects against technical issues. The work has long rigorous, and treat this final step with the same diligence to ensure nothing jeopardizes submission process. Now let's look at a submission checklist of sorts. Part 1. The checklist ensures that crucial submission components like cover letter, abstract, keywords, and word count meet all specific requirements. Skipping or misinterpreting even one instruction can delay review or result in desk rejection. This structured evaluation not only improves accuracy, but also reduces stress, helping you shift from uncertainty to confidence. Checking each box is a visible record of your preparation, ensuring your manuscript is genuinely ready for peer consideration. Part 2. Technical details such as correct file formats, standardized documentation, polished notes, metadata accuracy, and ethical warrants are all essential. Weakness in any of these areas may slow processing time or compromise the professional representation of your work. Checking a final spell check and confirming the article meets all style requirements, offering peace of mind. This final review ensures the article arrive in ideal condition for the editor's first assessment and elevates your professional credibility. Now, about web submissions and postal submissions. Modern Most modern submissions occur through web-based management systems, which guide authors step by step. These portals may time out if preparation is incomplete, reinforcing while all files should be ready before starting. Postal submissions, still used by some humanities journal, require professional presentation, clean print copies, no staples, and proper packaging. The formality of postal submission highlights the continued diversity of publishing traditions in the academia. Record keeping and timeline expectations. Recording the exact submission date is essential for tracking purposes. Different fields have varying review timelines. Sciences aim for decisions within weeks, while humanities expect several months. Setting reminders keep you engaged without excessive follow-ups. Maintaining a backup copy identical to the version submitted prevents discrepancies later on. Storing all editorial communications technically help document the process thoroughly and supports future revision planning. Something that we need to pay attention to. Now, the hairy arm strategy. Peer reviewers almost always recommend changes. It's part of the process. Leaving a harmless, fixable issue, a hairy arm, gives reviewers something to critique without threatening your central argument. This strategy keeps revision manageable and preserves the integrity of your core thesis. The story behind this strategy emphasizes managing expectations and interactions with gatekeepers. By offering reviewers a place to assert influence, you protect what truly matters in your scholarship. Perfection is not required. Openness to improvement is. Now, what's the moral of the story? The moral of the story is do not delay submission in pursuit of a mythical ideal of flawlessness. Peer review guarantees that revision is inevitable, and by submitting sooner, you allow your article to evolve through expert feedback rather than private doubt. Time and distance from your work will strengthen your ability to revise effectively in the long run. You'll return to the manuscript with renewed perspective and with the confidence that comes from engaging in the real scholarly process. But more importantly, do not forget to reflect on the journey. What does reflecting on the journey means? Pause and recognize what you've learned. Navigating journal guidelines, mastering style manuals, managing citations, and communicating with editors. These are still professional skills that define successful scholars. You've developed resilience, discipline, and a deeper understanding of academic publishing. This reflection is part of the milestone, acknowledging that writing for publication requires growth far beyond writing alone. Now, track your investment. Understanding how long each submission takes helps you plan future projects more efficiently. The breakdown shared 30% reading and planning, 40% formatting, 20% final preparation, 10% submission emphasizes that most effort comes before clicking submit. This reinforces the attention to detail, which is a major part of scholarly publishing. Documenting the time spent alone reduces anxiety. So instead of feeling like the process is overwhelming or unpredictable, tracking your workflow helps you recognize progress and develop realistic expectations. This insight will support smoother, more confident submissions throughout your academic career. Now, the moment of achievement. Submitting your article is a major scholarly accomplishment. It marks the moment. Just a minute, please. Sorry, I saw a cockroach. So I have to spray, get the spray. So, we were talking about submitting your article. Talaga, hindi ko talagang natapos. No? So, take note also that submitting your article is an accomplishment unto itself. This presentation encourages you to feel proud. not hesitant, because preparing a manuscript for peer review is something many aspire to but never achieve. This moment all validates the time, revision, frustration, and breakthroughs that led to completion. You have met the requirements, engaged with the discipline's expectations, and presented your ideas to the academic world. The next phase, peer review, can only begin because you had the courage to submit. So do not forget to celebrate your success. Celebration is not indulgent, it is essential reinforcement. Academic publishing is difficult work, and recognizing success helps sustain motivation for future writing cycles. You join a group of researchers who have moved beyond the fear of rejection towards the confidence to share their scholarship. Beyond career advancement, submission represents personal growth. You've strengthened your resilience, sharpened your writing, and learned to navigate a system with complex guidelines and expectations. You deserve acknowledgement. For reaching this point, celebrate what you've earned. Now, the next steps forward. Do not pause your scholarly momentum at this point. One article is an achievement, but a pipeline of ongoing work builds a sustained academic presence. Begin drafting or revising your next piece while awaiting feedback, reducing stress associated with the uncertainty of review timelines. Reviewer comments, whether revision, request, or rejection, should be welcome as opportunities to strengthen your research. Each cycle teaches you something new about writing, positioning your ideas more effectively, and communicating with your field. Forward motion is the core of a productive academic life. Lastly, congratulations on your submission. The presentation concludes with a strong message: freedom. You have earned the right to celebrate, rest, and take pride in your professional courage. Regardless of the outcome, acceptance, revision, rejection, you now understand the submission process deeply and have participated in the ongoing creation of knowledge. So, congratulations. Most importantly, this achievement marks a beginning. With each submission, your scholarly voice becomes stronger, your confidence increases, and your visibility in the academic community grows. The world needs your research, and this submission is proof that you are ready to contribute. I wish you well in your academic journey. Thank you very much for the course.